And we are indeed here with one of the great men in rock and roll, Mr. Dean DeLeo.
Well, thank you. It's nice to be here with one of the great men in radio, and just a great cat to be on the planet, man.
Dean, it's great to have you and SDP back. You played for us a couple years ago for our 40th birthday here. We call this the MMRBQ, and MMR is still alive and well.
Us rock and rollers, man, we're a dying breed, aren't we?
Well, I'm excited about this record. Unfortunately, I've only heard the one song that we've been playing, but if you have a minute, let's talk about it. You and Robert co-produced it, and I'm curious how that's different from working with Brendan O'Brien, which you had done before.
You know, working with Brendan was really like going to school, man. We learned a lot, and you know, you're really only as good as those around you, you know? Right. And we learned a lot from him. We just kind of, you know, brought that over into this record. We felt capable of being able to do our own record, and it was a blast for us, man, to really tackle that one.
Yeah, and did Don Was come in for some parts of it, the legendary producer?
The legendary.
Well, I mean, he's quite well known.
Yeah. We Don facilitated in getting us all in a room, should we say.
Okay. Well, because as the story goes, you, the three of you, Eric, Robert, and Dean, would do the basic tracks and then send them as a demo on CD over to Scott.
Well, we were all, you know, of course, we all needed to be in the same room while working the material up. So we really hashed out a lot of material. You know, I mean, there's 20-some songs being thrown around, and you know, you kind of narrow it down, man. And it's the time when everybody puts on their vest of truth and says, you know, I don't know if I'm particularly feeling this one, but I really like this, and maybe we should change the key of this, and you kind of run that, let that run its course, and then you start making the record.
Were songs done live with all four of you, or was it always that separation of process between Scott being in one location and adding stuff? And
we actually worked at 3 studios, and I really took Scott's lead in that, because everybody in my band's a guitar player, and it's pretty annoying. Quite honestly, you know, I'm sitting there trying to let my freak flag fly, and they're like, hey man, try this guitar and that amp. I'm like, so I insist, I'm like, when I'm doing my stuff, I don't want anybody around. I really like working like that.
Okay.
And so does Scott, you know. It's let me tell you, I would be the first guy to get under Scott's skin, be like, hey man, can you try this? Could you do that? So I'm very hypocritical right now, because I would be the first guy to do that to him, you know.
But he would often, when he would get the pieces, come back with stuff that often I heard surprised you. You know, in a very positive way. He would take a lyrical melody or a turn that you hadn't anticipated.
He always does, man.
Which is the great value of collaboration, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, he always does. I mean, just the tune that's out right now, Between the Lines, where he went melodically with the verse with that, really blew my mind.
It's a really wonderful song. Tell us about that song.
Well, I wish I could take the credit for writing it. I really had nothing to do with writing it whatsoever. Robert wrote that musically. And, you know, I don't want to really let out too much, but I know it was just kind of reminiscent of kind of like Paul Revere and the Raiders and Zombies kind of thing, just a real, that sort of backbeat of the song, and then we kind of course, put our stamp on it. And then, of course, Scott wrote lyrics and melody. And I guess I wrote the guitar solo. That's what I'm responsible for.
Regarding Robert, you said in a quote about him, it's probably easier to tell a story through a piano or a guitar, but when someone can tell a story with a bass, that's pretty remarkable, as your brother can.
He can.
Yeah.
Robert is responsible for some of the band's biggest songs, musically speaking. You know, Robert wrote Interstate, Plush. He's an extraordinary musician. Extraordinary.
Does he play regular guitar?
That's why he's relaxing in the dressing room and I get sent out to do it. See how it works, man?
I see how it works.
Yeah.
I'm wondering how a song gets presented to the band, because on this you've written some, he's written some. Does Eric write, first of all?
Eric does write.
Okay.
He wrote Trippin' on a Hole in a Paper Heart.
I did not know that. Wow. So in the group setting, somebody comes with a song. Is it hard when somebody says, the part you were talking about earlier, could you make a left turn there? I like that, but not that. Is it hard to hear that if that part's the part that you came up with?
You know, you just got to check your ego at the door, man.
Right.
And you just, you know, I think first and foremost, you just want to listen to what the song is saying to you before you even listen to one another. Just the song will guide you. It will speak to you and tell you what needs to be.
Scott has said on this record that he's more into storytelling now than relating personal drama. Do you think that's correct?
I think he did really tap into some really fine storytelling on this record. There's a track in there called Maver. It's a beautiful, beautiful story about a woman.
That's the girl who goes to San Francisco,
Yeah.
and she's looking to become a star, and then she gets caught up in the ponies. I've only read about it because, again, it's hard for us to describe the record.
Beautiful song, beautiful story.
But I want to talk with you about the artwork on it, because a great artist, Shepard Fairey, who's the guy who came up with the Obama Hope logo, and his work has been acknowledged in art museums all around the country and the world. He's a great artist. But he designed the album artwork, and it's called Peace Fingers Red. I've seen only internet photos of it or descriptions of it, but tell us about the artwork.
Well, I got to hand that one over to Scott. You know, we were mixing the record, and Scott brought in this book of Shepard's. He said, check out this cat's work, man. And we kind of went through it. And of course, I gravitated to the same thing Scott did, because there's our album cover right there. And the next call was to Shepard, and fortunately, he's a fan, because we wanted to make a little change to it. There was within the peace sign, there was the Andre the Giant symbol, and we asked Shepard to take that out and put our clover in, and he was very obliging. And I just can't even tell you the depth of gratitude I have to be able to use such a beautiful image. And we thought so much of the image, we didn't even want our name on the cover.
Right. The album is just self-titled, which I think is the first time that you guys have done that.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of people are like, oh, is it a new beginning? Is it a new start? It's like, no, we just didn't want anything to like interfere with that image. It was so beautiful. You know, it was like, how do you improve on a flower? You know?
Well, Eric says the image to him represents that the band is in a really good place now. Do you concur with that?
Oh, it depends on what hour of the day it is, really.
Third song in is Huckleberry Crumble. It's a Robert song, and apparently I had read that he grabbed a Les Paul, plugged it into your Marshall amp, and said, check this out.
Exactly. Yeah, that lick, that opening lick, and you know, he just got everything quite loud and said, check this out. Cool. I said, well, I want to try that.
Fourth song in is Hickory Dichotomy, one of your favorites I had read, and you presented this to the band on your laptop. Eric, in a quote I read, said, this one's going to be fun. You said it's a country song presented in a rock format.
Pretty much, yeah. It's just, there's a lot of country licks throughout this record, honestly, and I was a little apprehensive about saying that early on because I didn't want people to kind of think, well, where are these cats going now, man? You know, so, but it really does have a bit of a country tinge.
Is it your favorite?
My favorite record?
Your favorite song on the record?
Oh,
it's a tough one because they're all your babies, you know.
Yeah. Well, Dare If You Dare, I dig a lot too.
Okay. There is a deluxe version of the album coming soon. What is going to be on that package?
There's a few tracks that were laying around from some previous sessions. A beautiful track that Robert and Scott wrote, one called Samba Nova, and one called About a Fool. And there's actually one that I wrote with Scott called, oh shucks, You Can't Drive Me Away.
Okay.
Nice song, and so there'll be some kind of bonus tracks there, and there's some live stuff.
And the record is out Tuesday, am I correct?
Tuesday, yes.
Well, congratulations. I cannot wait to hear the whole record.
Thanks,
and
man.
We couldn't be happier than to have you here. It has been described as a new beginning, a new chapter, but to you it's just ongoing. Is that how you would more phrase it?
I think so, you know. I think so, man. You know, it just feels great. It really feels great. You know, it's like Robert kind of said it best, you know. It's like your bed. Sometimes it can be messy, but you know, at the end of the day, it's warm and cozy, you know.
Cool. Dean DeLeo of Stone Temple Pilots, great to have you back here.
Good to be here.
And have a wonderful show. Thank you for playing for us.
Good to see you, my friend.
Cool. Cheers.
Yeah.